We have the roll call by the superintendent, followed by the school board prayer by Mr. Lewis, and the leading of the Pledge of Allegiance by Vice President Ms. Barris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lewis? Here. Mr. Meyer?
Here.
Mrs. Barra? Ms. Fletcher Mickens? Mr. Abear? Here. Mr. Washington? Mrs. Hood?
Here.
Mrs. Arso? Mrs. Dugas?
All our people incumbent therein, particularly the students. Please raise them with your loving arm of protection, dear Lord, and bless them and keep them in your arms, my Father. I pray that you watch over us, dear Lord, during this impending hurricane seasons, particularly all our properties and all the people in this parish. Well, Heavenly Father, as we go forward, please watch over us and give us the strength to make sound, rational decisions as we do all this in this holy name and replace sincerely yours. We pray, amen. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to adoption of the agenda? Moved by Ms. Cooney, second by Ms. Dodd. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry.
I want to add item D under reports, this information I just received.
Okay. We did on item D.
Item D, yes.
I need a motion to approve the minutes of July 12, 2023 school board retreat.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hood, second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, approve minutes of July 19th, 2023 school board meeting. Need a motion?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Lewis.
Second.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Abel, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Under reports and recognition, we have your administrative personnel report, and we can read that at our leisure. Item B, receive 2023-2024 teaching and learning report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so excited. We have Mrs. Oakland and her team. They're going to be here presenting to us where we currently are, and they're going to back up a little bit and talk about some of the work that happened over the summer, because we did have our summer programming, as well as what are we doing moving forward to help support teaching and learning throughout the district. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Kathy Oakland.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. We are extremely excited to come before you this evening and present the information that we have from our team in regards to curriculum instruction and assessment. Ms. Rachel Dugas, Ms. Jessica Thibodeau, and myself will go through different portions of this with you all, just to go through some of the work we've been doing to get ready and be prepared for the upcoming school year. You should have a copy of the presentation before you. First of all, I'd like to start off with looking at our district strategic plan and where we are as a department, as a curriculum and instruction department, with the strategic plan and the work that we've been doing. Through Attune, we've been looking at this plan and looking at where we are and looking at the priorities to see, based on the upcoming school year, where our work needs to continue to focus and where the work maybe needs to be adjusted somewhat. If you look at the first initiative deals with the NIET systems and structures. Technical difficulties.
There we go.
The first one deals with our NIET systems and structures, where we look at the effectiveness of the instructional leadership teams and what's happening with the principals facilitating these teams on the different campuses. If you look, you can see the different deliverables that we have in place. We started this work back in May, where at the end of the school year, NIET came in and did some support and looked at the instructional leadership team rubric with our administrators. And through that work, we are going to continue with it this upcoming school year through developing our long-range plan and including the support needed based on the actual leadership team rubric. Informal observations will take place of these leadership teams on each campus between myself, Ms. Jessica, and Ms. Rachel. And we're looking to go in and see what's going well as what are maybe some areas that need to be improved, and celebrating the areas that we see that growth in, and then supporting in those areas maybe where there's some improvement needed. When we see that there's some areas that need improvement, the plan is to provide professional development through our principal meetings that will occur monthly throughout the course of the school year. Once we move forward with the professional development needed, come January, the plan is to complete some formal observations of these ILT meetings and provide feedback based on the NIET instructional leadership team rubric to these administrators on their campus. And this will help us to align future work of the ILT meetings and the professional learning community meetings that need to take place. And then towards the end of the school year, it's going to be to develop the next steps and what training maybe needs to take place to move forward, moving into the following year. On these campuses, the connections can be made to the core team meetings that our principals and assistant principals are having, along with maybe their master teachers if they have one on campus, or it may be through the district master teachers who may be attending as well. These team meetings, the core meetings and the ILT meetings, will be weekly meetings where they'll have collaboration around their long-range plan that they have created on their campuses, in which the need is going to be identified through the analysis of student data that they look at, as well as any teacher data from formal observations that may be needed. And the new learning is going to take place through the cluster meetings where the strategies will be shared and an evaluation of these strategies will take place once these are done. Looking at the next initiative is curriculum implementation. Our work as a team started back in May with curriculum implementation. We are moving towards using CKLA with our K2 students for reading and Eureka Math Squared with pre-K through Algebra 1. These two new curriculums, we had vendors from the two vendors come in, Amplify and Great Minds. They started professional development with our teachers at the end of the school year so that they could begin to be prepared for the implementation of this in the upcoming school year. The goal is to continue this professional development through these vendors throughout the course of the year once teachers begin implementing the curriculum, so that they have that consistent support coming from Amplify and Great Minds in regards to the curriculums being implemented. As an instructional team and along with our school leaders, we need to develop our vision of implementation. So we'll be moving forward with creating what does that look like in our classrooms across campuses by analyzing the look-fors that these two vendors have that we can look at to help make sure that the implementation of these curriculums is happening in the manner in which it should. Informal walkthroughs will be done throughout the course of the year to check in with teachers as well as administrators on curriculum implementation. And then instructional leadership will focus on student work analysis through these curriculums to see how our students are growing in the areas needed. Then we will focus on looking at lesson and unit internalization once we have checked that the curriculum implementation is in place through the walkthroughs that we have completed and developed that next step for the following year in regards to the curriculum. Some of the work, as I said, has already begun, and if you look at the next slide, we've had CKLA and Eureka Math Squared professional development for our leaders and our teachers. We also had these leaders and teachers participated in this professional development, and through this professional development, we have determined maybe what are some next steps in regards to what they may need support in with this curriculum as we begin the school year. And you can see on the next slide, these are some photos of teams of teachers that we had come in over the summer, and these teachers worked to create pacing, they looked at assessments, and they shared strategies that would be helpful in successful implementation of the curriculum. The next initiative is the observation, feedback, and coaching. We are going to work to continue to help build school leaders' capacity for high impact informal observation and feedback and coaching based on the NIET rubric. You can see that supervisors will be in doing observations, check-ins will be done with the elementary and secondary supervisors. Myself, along with the supervisors, will be doing quarterly walkthroughs on campuses, as well as completing surveys or administering surveys to get that feedback in order to see where we are. Not the protocols, but align the analysis of student work to the student assessment data. As we're analyzing student work, are we seeing that progress that we need to see on student benchmark data, on student assessment data as we're going on throughout the course of the school year? We had staff members from LDOE, the Louisiana Department of Education, come in this summer, and they assisted with some professional development for our teachers in regards to early literacy screener data. How do we look at early literacy screener data to help us move our students forward, as well as the instructional side of guidebooks and how teachers can better utilize what's in those guidebooks to help our students grow. And as I said, we're going to have checkpoints built in throughout the course of the school year where we're looking not only at the student work, but we're comparing the student work to that data, to that benchmark data that students are providing to us or to our formal assessment data that's taking place throughout the course of the year. And as you can see, we have some dedicated teachers who gave up their time during the summer. Throughout the summer, we appreciate their hard work. They came in and took time not only to work on pacing, but they also came in and participated in professional development that was needed. Now, this portion was looking at, I guess, our district strategic plan and the initiatives that our team is responsible for there. Moving forward, our teaching and learning team here will be the individuals to make sure that these portions of the plan are carried out, and we are supporting as needed across all campuses. Our teaching and learning team is composed of Ms. Rachel, Ms. Jessica, myself, and we also have Ms. Rhea Blanchard and Ms. Hallie Thibodeau, our district master teachers. We come together weekly, and we have weekly meetings each week to discuss any curriculum and instruction and assessment needs, as well as the strategic plan initiatives that are in place and the work to be done behind them. Based on the school visits that our team will be doing, we will identify those needs and provide the support needed. And we come together as well to plan any professional development that would best help to meet those needs of the individuals that we support. The district master teachers will be on campuses each day this school year, supporting different campuses throughout the course of the school year. Ms. Hallie will be supporting our elementary campuses, and Ms. Rhea Blanchard will be supporting our middle and high school campuses. And they will have a schedule where they will visit each campus weekly to be there not only to support teachers, but also to support any PLC work, any instructional leadership team work that needs to take place, and so on. Myself, along with Ms. Rachel and Ms. Jessica, will have meetings bi-weekly to meet and discuss the support that we see that is needed on campus, but not only the support, once again, to focus on what's going well, because we have a lot to celebrate here in Assumption Parish, so we need to make sure that we are there, living it, seeing it, breathing it with them, and can come back and share with you all what that is that's happening on those campuses in those classrooms. The principal support, as I said, we will have monthly principal meetings. This year, our principal meetings will be on the campuses of the different schools. And when we go onto those campuses, the goal is to visit the school's long-range plan, look at where they are in that plan, celebrate any success that they've had so far with that plan, complete walkthroughs with the team of administrators there, and then we'll come back and debrief on what we saw in those classrooms based on curriculum implementation, assessment, and the student work that's being produced. We'll also use these principal meetings to deliver any new learning that may need to take place through our NIET systems and processes that we have. And you can see on the next slide, the leaders this summer participated in some professional development around the curriculum. They also participated in professional development around the NIET systems and structures that we have in place and that we're going to be continuing to use and implement this upcoming school year. And lastly, as Dr. B said, our summer camp, we had great results from our students at summer camp. You can see the number of students who signed up to attend, and then you can see the number of students who actually continued to attend from start to finish. And then when you look at the data, the pre-post test results, these are the percent of students that showed growth from the pre-test to the post-test. And these results come from the actual Tier 1 curriculum materials that were used in summer camp through the guidebook units and through the Eureka math curriculum. Are there any questions? Okay, at this time I would like to call Ms. Rachel to come up.
All right, no intermission. We're moving right along to the next part. Ms. Kathy pretty much explained to you the process that we're going to use this year to make sure that we're moving all of our schools, and I'm going to share with you the tools and the curriculum resources that we plan to use. Every year, we give our teachers the resources that we feel they need. You know, that includes instructional guides, that includes student materials, but something that's very important that we give them is a pacing chart, a pacing guide. We are very blessed that we have dedicated teachers that come in and help develop such documents. So once again this summer, our teachers came in, the master teachers helped, the pacing charts are ready, and we're delivering them and releasing them. We're almost finished. I think we just have ELA left to do. We wanted to make sure they were updated. Okay, new this year are going to be some universal screeners. In the past, we used iSteep as our universal screener, and we are switching this year. We are going to be using DIBELS 8 as our reading diagnostic in grades kindergarten through 4th grade, and we're going to be using iReady as our reading diagnostic in grades 5 through 8. In math, we're going to use iReady kindergarten through 8th. The state has made the switch. Before I had talked to y'all that there were 4 possible screeners that were allowed to be able to be used in reading. Now the state is saying we're going to use DIBELS. I wanted to put this slide because the state initiative with literacy is really gaining a lot of momentum, and we've done a lot of things to put in place to make sure that we're keeping up with the expectations. So starting this year, each primary school is going to have a literacy plan that's going to be posted to their website that's going to have goals set for students, classrooms, the school, and then the district. Within that is going to be an action plan of how we're going to achieve all of those goals. The main way to achieve them is through explicit instruction. Like Ms. Kathy said, we're going to be using CKLA and guidebook in 3rd through 5th grade, and then interventions. Our DIBELS is going to be our universal screener that's going to let us know who needs interventions. Okay, curriculum. Most of our curriculum, for the most part, is staying the same, I guess I can say. We're adding Hegarty to Head Start to 2nd grade, which is a phonemic awareness activity. We're adding FIRE to 3rd grade, which is a little bit of an advanced phonemic awareness activity, which brings in morphology and a little spelling patterns. We're switching from expeditionary learning to CKLA in kindergarten through 2nd. We're going to be using guidebook again in 3rd through 12th. Math is changing from Eureka to Eureka Math Squared, and we're doing that pre-K to 9th grade. Science is staying the same, and then social studies in 3rd through 8th grade, we're going to be using Bayou Bridges, which is the new state curriculum. Not all of the resources are ready yet. However, we have had a fantastic social studies teacher, Ms. Frankie, who has really helped us with everything. And the lessons that aren't ready in Bayou Bridges, we have resources that we'll be using. Okay, curriculum assessments. These are just a list of all of the assessments that we're going to be allowing the teachers to use that are paced out in the pacing. Okay, so this I'm really excited about. We had our new teacher meeting today, and I must say, they were just a joy to work with. They are very eager to get in the classroom. I'm thrilled. And we explained the new teacher experience that the state is putting on. This is the modules of study that APEL sponsors, which is the 5 days, which is the 5 days of full day training. And we have them listed out right there of when those dates are going to be occurring this year. And also, the next slide is the affinity groups, which Louisiana Tech University sponsors, and that is where like-minded groups of teachers come together and have a 1-hour Zoom meeting once a month based on their needs. So we offered all of our people this today. Already, 5 of them have signed up. So we'll be adding that to the 11 that have signed up before, and we're hoping to build momentum and get the rest of them on board with signing up also. All right, so that concludes what I'm going to share with you tonight. However, Dr. B would like for me to come back at the next board meeting, I believe, and talk early childhood. Yes. How many new teachers this year? At the meeting, we had 16, but there are some who didn't attend. I kind of went fast through the slides. Do you have some questions?
No.
Okay. Dr. B, you were shaking your head like you wanted to say?
No, I was gonna lean more on Shannon on that question, but that's fine. What about the new teachers? How many new teachers we had in the district? How many new teachers we had? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank
So
you.
16 came, that's great. Yeah. All right, do I need to back up and explain anything? No? Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Rachel covered the 5th through 8th, so I'm going to focus mainly on the 9 through 12, but I do have some middle school information also that I'm going to present to you. I'm going to start with just a brief review because I'm not sure how long it's been since you've heard about the 2 different high school diploma pathways that we have that the state offers, Topps University and Jumpstart. So there's a huge misconception that with these 2 different paths, you can't end up in the same place. You can. There are 2 paths, but if a student earns a Topps University diploma, they can go straight to a 4-year college. If a student earns a Jumpstart diploma, it does not mean that they can never attend a 4-year college or university. It just means that they have to transition through a community, technical, or junior college to get there. So I know that's a misconception that some people have, that if you go Jumpstart, your kid can never go to college. So we've worked to clear that up, and we're going to continue with work on that. The pathways have changed. The 2021 cohort, which will be the class of 2024, are the first class that started with Jumpstart 2.0. Jumpstart 1.0 was the original initiative, and I have a list of pathways that we offered at Assumption High School. And Jumpstart 2.0, you see it's less pathways. However, the state offers less pathways in 2.0 because they combined a lot of pathways. It does have a few differences where you no longer need 3 credentials, you need 1, but you can't have a complementary credential. It has to be a core credential or higher in order to meet your diploma requirements. Part of the work that I plan to do, I've already been in communication with Fletcher on several different things at the high school. I plan to continue to do that. They've reopened their campus in Thibodaux. So I've been discussing with them some options that I'm going to bring to Dr. B that I know he'll bring to you about possibly some more opportunities for our kids to possibly be transported, since it is right there in Thibodaux and not all the way in Gray. They would have some time in the day. For curriculum, as Ms. Dugas said, we are continuing with guidebooks in 9 through 12. Eureka Math Squared only goes up to Algebra 1 at this time, so we will continue to use Eureka in geometry. Algebra 2 and Advanced Math, they focus on ACT prep, college prep, and also CLEP exams. In science, at the high school level, we have the Louisiana State Science Standards, Scope and Sequence for environmental science, physical science, chemistry, and we also use the CLEP. Coach Hollins is back here. Oh, he was? Oh, he stepped out. He's had several students pass the CLEP exam in chemistry. We also use Inquiry Hub for biology because that is the tier 1 curriculum that helps them meet the LEAP requirements. For social studies, there's a new framework that just came out. It is just that, a framework, so the teachers are working on utilizing that. We will be transitioning this year. They're going to field test a LEAP in civics and begin next year with an actual civics LEAP test requirement and phase out U.S. history like they did with English 3 several years ago when they moved it to English 1 and English 2. For elective CTE classes and dual enrollment, some have state curriculums. If it's applicable, like Quest for Success and Virtual Workplace Experience, we use those curriculums. When it's not, the courses focus on helping the students earn that industry-based credential, because that is what they need to meet their graduation requirements to certify in the course, or they look at a WorkKeys component that aligns to their course. And WorkKeys is a subset of ACT, where a Jump Start student can earn their diploma and accolades on their diploma with a silver or higher, and it also qualifies them for TOPS Tech, even though they may not make a 17 or 18 on the ACT. So they have different things like that. We also, for dual enrollment courses, we are tied to whatever the dual enrollment requirements are to earn that college credit. A little more on advanced opportunities. Going from the past to the future, in 1920, we had 5 college courses taken at Assumption High School. In 2021, that was first year returning from COVID. It was a struggle all the way around. In 2023, at the end of the 21-22 school year, we had a big kickoff district-wide to get people involved. We went up to 237 courses taken last school year. And this current school year, we're projecting 283 courses. That's how many students have signed up for at this time. Part of the huge increase is the state transitioned for the 4th social studies from psychology AP to psychology dual enrollment. We have a teacher at Assumption High School who is certified to teach psychology dual enrollment face-to-face. So all of the students in her classes have the opportunity now to earn the dual enrollment credit. We added midterms dual enrollment with our nursing instructor, which is another face-to-face. This school year, that was all last year. This school year, Ms. Carrie Leonard will be doing BCA face-to-face, and we also partnered with Fletcher to do full sections of hybrid English 101, English 102, and Math 101. What that means is they told me if I can get 25 kids to sign up, they would put them with one Fletcher instructor. We would put them in one course at Assumption High School and have the English 3 teacher facilitate the English 101 course. So they're getting taught online, but they have a certified English teacher helping them and assisting them daily with the work. Same thing with 102. For advanced math and pre-calc, they do not have a dual enrollment replacement option. So we can't subset Math 102 for that class, that course, but we can do Math 101 for Algebra 2. So that is why you don't see the Math 102 option. It doesn't mean it's not an option for students. It will be in the future as we get more interest, but they'll also have to take that senior level math unless the state changes something with that. The IBCs are the Jumpstart Advanced Opportunities. It was OSHA 10. It is moving to OSHA 30. We have CITF core in carpentry and welding, core in pipe fitting, customer service, Microsoft Office credentials they can earn. We used to do CNA, if you remember, at the high school. COVID kind of shut that down with them not being able to go into the nursing homes. So we switched over to a PCT program, which is a patient care technician program. It actually affords our students more employment opportunities than a CNA, and they can get EKG, phlebotomy, and PCT certifications throughout a series of courses. And we had an instructor go this summer to certify in Adobe Photoshop, and we'll be implementing a graphics design course so students can earn an Adobe Photoshop credential. We offer a series of CLEP tests and a few AP. Most high schools are moving from AP to CLEP because it is more high school friendly for the students, I should say, to earn the credits, but also it is cost efficient because Modern States has been set up, and if a student completes a Modern States course, they can earn a voucher, and the test is of no cost to them or the district. AP, there is a fee for every test. We are continuing to collaborate with our post-secondary partners, Nichols and Fletcher, to see what other opportunities we can afford our students, either through online, hybrid, or face-to-face courses. At our middle schools, for all of this to work, we have to filter down to the middle schools, and that's where the next slide is, Carnegie units in middle schools. So in middle schools, we're focusing on earning high school credits. to advance them, to give them more opportunities to earn dual enrollment credits in the high school. Quest for Success, foreign languages, mostly French and Spanish, are earned, and a half a health credit. Some have also done keyboarding, which is not added on there, and we also encourage them to look at some modern states and CLEP opportunities at the middle school level as well. I'm currently working with the AHS Guidance Department and Administration to build some additional course options for the middle schools. With the changes in Jumpstart 2.0, and we've located some more today, it's evolving, so we're trying to see what exactly would work and what wouldn't, instead of just giving them, just go do whatever. We want to align it to where it's accessible for the kids. The other initiative that Dr. B's been working on is Fast Forward. I want us to be able to research and expand ways to help our students reach that goal and not limit them to, you have to pass this test or this. That's one of the reasons we're doing so much partnership with Fletcher and Nichols to figure those things out. What we're finding is that a lot of times when they get to high school, it's almost too late to put it in their mindset to take that rigorous track. So start sharing it with middle school students and parents at their open houses and their meeting nights. So that way they can have that mindset, okay, let me try to earn some high school credits in middle school, and then in high school, I want to try to leave with an associate's degree. But the guidance department is actively working to seek out students who are on the path or could easily be on track to earn an associate's degree before leaving high school. When we get that list, we're going to set up meetings with the parent and the students and say, look, this is where you are, this is where you could be if you just follow these courses, and see if they're interested or not, because it could help them tremendously. Could help us tremendously as the state's considering going to an associate's degree for a teacher certification. So could be twofold. The next big portion of high school work, of course, is ACT and ACT work keys. We've done several things over the past few years at the high school, implementing an ACT prep course. So anyone who doesn't, in their junior year, have a 21 or higher on the ACT, if they're a Tufts University student, they take an ACT online prep course. It is an elective option for sophomores and seniors who aren't in it. What we've been doing is working on ways to improve that course, identifying different instructors, not just using the online program, but how can we implement the practice tests, different strategies, goal setting, having students set targets on each subset of the test. So that is all work that we're going to be doing with the instructors this year to help build it. We're also seeking some outside professional development from some classroom teachers who teach ACT online prep that have done a phenomenal job of increasing scores in their school, and they have a professional development they've designed. I've seen them twice at Teacher Leader, and they are phenomenal. So Ms. Kathy's been working with me to figure out if we can find funding and a way to provide that professional development for our ACT online, our ACT prep teachers. With work keys, we are identifying different courses that we can add some materials in to help those Jumpstart students score higher on work keys, because a work key silver with the right GPA can afford them Tufts Tech. And basically, if they go to a community college or a technical college in the state of Louisiana, they pretty much go for minimal to no cost if they earn that Tufts Tech scholarship. So we do want to work on that. Last year, Ms. Turner began some work in the beginning of the year. We started implementing it in the second half of the year at the high school, where she pulled a bunch of different practice workbooks, and one day of the week was English practice. So the ELA teachers did that for bell work. One day was science, so the science teachers did that for bell work. Reading, it could be a social studies teacher doing it, because if you're familiar with the reading part of the ACT, it's comprehension, and it could be on historical documents or things like that, or it could be the English teacher doing it, and math as well. So just having it 9 through 12, but it was the content teacher doing the work. Some of the things we would like to implement, and we're researching ways to to do it and fund it as well. Learning from, of course, teacher leader, communicating with different high schools in the area. Some of the suggestions that we're going to be bringing to the table are ACT Saturdays, where you do 2 hours a few Saturdays before each national testing date, where students can come in and get math, ELA, reading, or science support. If you do it 4 weeks, they can get one of each. If you do it 2 weeks, maybe an hour of each for the 4 courses, or they can just go to the course that they're really struggling in, that they're continually scoring the lowest in. Another thing, maybe afternoons. We'll see what the kids are more able to participate in and do. We know sometimes afternoons your athletes are out because they have practices or games, ag, FFA, they have practice continually. So band, we don't want to eliminate those students from these opportunities. That's why Saturdays might be an option for some, afternoons might be an option for others. We did give the pre-ACT to 9th and 10th grade this year. We plan to continue to give that. We gave it in the 23 school year. We plan to continue to give that next year. We would like to see it possibly go down into the middle schools. It's the 8th, 9th pre-ACT or the 10th pre-ACT, which is by grade level. Mia Edwards, who is our ACT rep, suggested that 7th graders take the 7th and 8th graders take the 8th, 9th pre-ACT. 9th graders take the 10th grade pre-ACT. And she's actually suggesting that we give our 10th graders the ACT because there are so many students at Assumption High School that only take that one test their junior year. And research shows the more you test, the higher you're likely to score. So those are some things that we're going to be bringing to the table to project, to present to possibly increase the ACT scores. Ms. Kathy and I discussed presenting some information. The middle schools are always looking for ways to advance their students and to help them out. March to Success has a free online program that is ACT support. So if we help them maybe through their acceleration periods, students who don't need assistance in reading or math could start doing, along with their Edgenuity courses, some ACT prep. And another thing that the counselors have been asking for that we're going to look into possibly doing is work keys testing all students. But if the state changes to only accepting a work key score for Jumpstart students, that one would not be one we would want to move forward with. The other initiative that was presented to you a couple of months ago was Grow Our Own. So we've been working with Nichols for the Educators Rising curriculum and to possibly award dual enrollment credit for the students. The problem is going to be having possibly a teacher available to award it. So we're working with Mr. Channing Parfait to see if it's possible to do a hybrid like we're doing with Fletcher, where it's a Nichols instructor, our teacher at Assumption High School facilitating it. We currently plan to begin this course in the spring. We have 4 students enrolled, and we do have a teacher who is very excited to do it. When I brought it to her, she was excited and seemed like it was something she'd be really interested in. That is the biggest issue to tackle, because you don't want somebody trying to grow our own that is not going to be excited about it and present it in a positive way. We will begin working with middle and high schools to create Educators Rising clubs, because you develop that interest, so then you can build the cohorts and the classes that way and possibly get some more students interested in education. The other thing we are working on is parental involvement. That's going to go on throughout the year, but the last few slides are just the flyers that have been going out of the back to school events that the different schools, high school, and then the next one's the middle school opportunities and the elementary school opportunities. So any questions for me? I know that was a lot.
I just have one. The Jumpstart 1.0 to 2.0, is there anything that was offered in 1.0 that is gone that we offered? I know they were you said they were consolidated.
We were able to take everything we offered and put it into another course.
Okay,
Most
good.
of it went into architecture and construction, but our kids, all the interest that our kids had, we will be able to do through just those few pathways.
Awesome. Good.
Thank you.
Mr. B, I know last year we ran into a problem with funding. Did we put more funding in dual enrollment this year?
Unfortunately, our funding source comes from the State Department, but we did not deny any student or any teacher for receiving services. I want to say 22,000? Yeah, I picked up an additional $22,000 because we wanted to make sure that we provide the resources and the support. So I
So
was
if we
looking
run
at
into
that.
a problem, what you're saying is we
Covered it.
Okay.
We took care of it. And I was looking at Ms. Jessica's number and 300, let's say roughly a course.
I shared the information with Miss Kathy and Mr. Darrow yesterday of projected figures.
Yes, so.
With what we have for supplemental course allocation and what we will potentially need for dual enrollment, so we can begin planning.
The State
Thank you,
Department
Ms.
give us
Jessica. Okay.
basically two funding sources. And that's what she was mentioning, you know, and you could explain if you want to explain it. But we have two funding sources that cover all of what she's saying. And I was worried because we're increasing to 283, and I know last year we were already over. But, you know, I think this board and I think the school system really understands the importance of what we need to do to provide those services to students. So I don't think funding will be an issue.
We met with Mr. B this week, myself and Ms. Cooney, and we discussed ACT in the middle school. And I think it's a great idea. I really think if you start at a younger age and get them used to taking this type of test, that they'll score better as they go along. I agree with that.
I agree. This was not hard for me to come up with because these are ideas that have been in my brain, and I've been having the desire to do, but I didn't have the capacity to do it. So now, thankfully, with this position and the collaborative effort with Dr. B, Ms. Kathy, Ms. Rachel, Mr. Darrow, with funding, of course, hopefully we can make some of these things a reality and give our kids better opportunities, because that's, I think, what we're all here for.
Thank you for a great report. all of you.
You're welcome.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Okay, next item C, recognize Superintendent John Bartholomew for being appointed to serve as a representative on the Superintendent's Advisory Council. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to inform the board and our community that I will be advocating once again for Assumption Parish. I've been selected to participate in the Bessie's Superintendent Advisory Council. So last week, we had a meeting, and very truly thankful and appreciative of this opportunity. But again, for the way I do things is there. I participate in these opportunities to advocate for our kids, to advocate for Assumption Parish. So truly thankful.
Congratulations. Okay, we have an addition, item D. Dr. Bartholomew wants to speak on the growth in the areas of mastery and advance on the LEAP 2025 state test.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Just real quick, we definitely will do a huge news media release. But today, I had the opportunity to attend a press release by the Louisiana State Superintendent, Dr. Brumley, and his team in Bossier City. So if I mess up tonight, I'm probably driving over all these hours on the highway. But the good news is Assumption Parish School System is tied for 6th in the state of Louisiana in growth in the areas of mastery and advance on the LEAP 2025 state test. That is tremendous. We will only, think about it, to top 10, and we're up there receiving awards and accolades with the high performing district, the district that have a lot of funding. So I'm truly proud, and this is a testament to our teachers, our students, our leaders that are on campuses every day, grinding to make sure that our kids get everything they need. So kudos to them. Congratulations to Assumption Parish School System. With that being said, if you could recall a couple years ago, well, last year, we had Belrose Primary School being ranked, right? The highest growth out of any school in the state of Louisiana. Well, this year we have another school that's being recognized by the state Bayou Lewis Primary is ranked second in the state of Louisiana. Of all schools in the state of Louisiana, they're number 2 in growth in the areas of mastery and advance on the LEAP 2025 state test. I cannot say enough about those teachers and those parents and those administrators. So congratulations to Bayou Lewis Primary School and congratulations to Assumption Parish School System.
Thank you, Dr. B. That's very good news.
You know, every year, this board is asked to approve funding for, you know, special students and stuff like that for professional development and all that. I listened at the information that was given out today on the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching, NIET. So that tells me right there the work, the services, the support that they are giving to our teachers in the classroom and also the principals, and it's showing right now, and this is a testament of what the work that we are doing. So again, you know, a lot of time we kind of raise our eyebrows when the superintendent or one of his directors come to us and ask about approving funding for our professional service. But as you can see, this work is showing up in the classrooms, and I really thank those who participated over the summer, because I knew quite a few kids that participated in the program over the summer. So again, thank you, Dr. B, and continue this funding source. And again, thanks to all the teachers and that participated in this program over the summer. Real good job. Thank you.
Okay, next on the policy and procedure, receive information on 2023-2024 pupil progression plan.
With the pupil progression plan, we play tag. You're it. The newbie gets to present. So, I'm just going to highlight the pages with changes. So if we begin on page 2, it is just changes of members and members' titles. If they've changed, you can see it's pretty easy to see. The changes are in red, and anything that needed to be eliminated has a line through it. On the bottom of page 3 is your key or your cheat sheet. Anything in blue text is parish policy that has already been in our pupil progression plan. So we're not going to go over any of that tonight. If you have a question on something, I do not have a problem with answering it, but it is current policy. Anything that is in black text is the state required policies that have to be in there. Anything that is in black that you see highlighted in yellow was added by the state. Anything that is has a strike through is something we are removing from the policy, and anything in red we are adding. If it's in red in the italics, it's just a little explanation as to why it was changed or added.
Ms. Thibodeau, before you go, and could
Yes,
you
sir.
inform the board kind of like the meetings, or maybe
Okay.
Mr. Buggage, the team, and how you all kind of
Yeah.
went over everything before you go deep into it?
So we've had 5 or so. Ms. Joseph, why are you looking around? You've been in every meeting. We had five or so meetings, 4 or 5 meetings, that all of the people in here have attended one or most or all of the meetings, or have been invited to them to help revise our policy. We start with what our current policy is, what we have to add from the state, and what changes we feel as a school district needs to be done in order to revise our policy. Miss Lisa Links heads the electronic version of it and kind of leads the meeting, and the rest of us sit in there and give our input and feedback. After every meeting, we're given the latest and greatest version. We review it, and we come back to the next meeting with any additional suggestions, changes, and ideas. We continue to do that until we feel we have the version ready to present to the board, which is where we are tonight. I'm sorry. The next page with changes is page 5. At the bottom, we just added Dibbles as a screener because that is the one the state is currently recommending that we use. So we just added that title. The next change comes on page 14. All of this is in reference to the NCAA bylaws. The state required these additions, and the state required these removals of the policy, so it is basically nothing we can do other than put it in our plan. That is page 14, and then at the top of page 15, you see the rest of that. On page 15, we changed a few things with additional considerations for 9th through 12th grade. We do not roll over any students mid-year. We roll them over at the end of the year if they meet the graduation requirements. If they started the year off as a junior, if they meet the graduation requirements at the end of the year, we roll them into a senior. If not, they get rolled into a senior the next year. None of the rest of the grade levels roll over until the school year is complete. I know one question might be, but I'm a junior, do I get to participate in senior activities? The answer is yes. We don't stop them from participating in senior activities if we know they're a graduating junior. Under testing requirements, as we were transitioning from English 2 and 3 to English 1 and 2, we had to make some disclaimers about who those tests reference. So we had for all students, or then we had for students entering this school year. Now, all students have to meet algebra or geometry, biology or U.S. history, English 1 or English 2. So there's no reason to have all that extra wording. It just makes it confusing. So we just eliminated all of that. Because this is the first year that English 3 is completely phased out. It will not be given to anyone. So we will be changing it soon with civics and U.S. history, but for this year, we get to clean it up a little bit. On page 16, under item number 1, we just took out to grades 1 to 8 because it applies to all grades. We did that for clarification. We also took out the word additional. The next change is on page 19. It is with the literacy support standards for grades 3 and 4. Those are state required additions. So again, there's nothing we could do about those. Then we move on to page 25. We added information on the HiSET eligibility. As we continue to work on improving this program, the requirements will be spelled out in our program component, but we have a generic overview in our pupil progression plan. On page 27, we begin with some LEA policies on due process involving Bulletin 50, Section 504 and Bulletin 1903, 1508, and 1706. Basically, Ms. Cage and the special ed team took out what we had in there because it was more generic and it did not cite the bulletins, and they took the wording exactly from the bulletins, and that is what you see in red. So the next few pages on regular education students, students with disabilities, page 27, 28, 29, 30, the 504 education students, and 31. It is just getting in more detail with those parts of our policy and aligning them to the legal bulletins. So I know it's a lot of wording, but it came directly from the bulletins to make it aligned to where nobody can contest what we do versus what the bulletin says.
That's the only question I had on the whole, because I read through it today. I wanted to make sure that that's why it was done.
That is
To
why it was
align
done.
it. This is
Yes,
what it
sir.
is, yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir, that is why it was done. The next change comes on page 33. Over and over again, at the beginning, the senior teachers struggle because they get out 2 weeks early to meet pupil progression requirements. So in the fourth 9-week period, we reduce the requirements of assessments for seniors by 1 letter grade, by 1 assessment. In doing that, a discussion came up between primary and middle schools with state testing, different events and activities, that they decided to do the same with primary and middle grades, to drop one test grade requirement for only the fourth 9 weeks. Instead of rushing to get something in and it possibly affecting a child negatively, we decided it was better to just say, this is, and it's a minimum. Teachers can do more, but this is the minimum they can have. The next change comes on page 36. Again, as we continue to progress through the years, that beginning in 1920 school year is no longer needed, so we just scratched that out. Quality points are only on TOPS core GPA. They're not on the entire GPA. It's only on the core GPA. So that is, we added the word only for clarification. That's not a change. We just did it for clarification. And the 1920 cohort is gone and graduated, so it's all students. Page 37, again, the cohort has moved on. So the beginning of the first two paragraphs saying the beginning of this school year is no longer needed, so we can remove that. And we added under dual enrollment that the dual enrollment course grades are recorded on the high school transcript. You just talked to me about money. Ms. Tiffany at the Department of Education has reiterated that we have, if you are using supplemental course allocation funds, you have to show that they were used and used appropriately, and if you're using it for college credit, it has to be on the transcript. So it's really, if that's the funding we're gonna use, we gotta validate it. It's a system of checks and balances. So that's why that is added. On page 38, just for clarification, we had spelled out the consensus between all those people, but that is the SBLC committee. So it was just streamlined to say it's an SBLC committee decision. Page 39, again, what we looked at on all those pages with all that red with clarification and alignment to bulletins, that is what we're doing with the school building level committee here, which is why we could take that little snippet out before, and we're making sure everything is aligned to the Section 504 policies. And page 40 is the same. And that is the end of our current recommendation for our pupil progression plan. Any questions? The team battled and struggled a little bit. Dr. B came in there and struggled with us a couple of times, but at the end, we came up with what we feel is the best policy for the upcoming school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, on the budget, A, approve contract with Teaching Strategies.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Davis, second by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, approve the amendment to consolidated lease agreement by and between Assumption Parish School and Sunshine Bus Sales Incorporated. Need a motion?
So moved.
Move on, Ms. Davis, second by Mr. Lewis. All in favor?
Aye. Can we just go, Dr. B, can you explain what that amendment is? So that,
Yes, I work with legal counsel. What we're doing is we want to make sure that we're not extending the contract. We just want to make sure that we add our cameras and our GPS system as part of the contract. Because currently, right now, the contract does not include that. So I just want to make sure that the bus company that we have a lease with, they need to make sure that we have cameras on the buses that's in the contract. So that's the reasoning why.
Okay, next time before we vote, we're going to ask for clarification. Okay, item C, approve contract renewal with the School Leadership Center of Greater New Orleans. Need a motion?
So move.
Move by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Washington.
Clarification on this contract, what exactly is do they do in our system?
Yes, thanks for asking. If you notice, Ms. Kathy was speaking of the district walkthroughs. So this particular contract works with our school system on walkthroughs. So They will be providing some support for the district as well as the schools on what trends and what we're seeing, and also how to do professional walkthroughs in our schools. So it's a support for our district and our administrative district as well, because I don't want, we will be walking with them. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So Dr. B, this is a new contract, I take it, not an existing one, huh?
We had them last year. It's a renewal.
Okay.
We've been working with them for the last couple of years, so it's been working out well. But again, we want to make sure, because we now have district instructional leadership team meetings, so we're going to use them to support us as well. It's a renewal.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item D, receive information on Assumption Parish School Board hunting and trapping leases.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
We are at a point in time with our Section 16 properties, our hunting and trapping leases go for terms up to 6 years. They run from October 1 to September 30th. We're at a point now where at September 30th, those leases will expire in totality. We have 3 Section 16 properties. So the protocol for that is to put it out for public bid, advertisement. So before I did anything in bringing this to you all for information, it's been a while since I had anyone look at it, so I handed it over to Mr. Calabro. He looked at all 3 leases. They are all the same. Put a little touch-up work on it, nothing major. And I wanted him to see what my advertisement would look like. And he dressed that up a little bit. Again, nothing major. The protocol for this would be, we advertise for 3 weeks once you give the superintendent authorization to do that. The bids, it's a bid process like other bids. They must be sealed. We receive them here, we mark them in. If they are not in good condition and not properly sealed, we would toss them out, send them back. So it's a process that we follow that has strict guidelines. The leases run for 1 year. They're all concurrent with the option to renew for another 5 years. So in total, it's a 6-year term. What I do, and I checked with Mr. Calabro, the current leaseholders of the land, I give them a courtesy call that this process is about to renew again. And I remind them, and I would remind you all as well, it is a sealed bid process. I remind them to give strong consideration to what they're doing. It's winner take all. And so that's the process that we use.
And could you talk about, to make sure that if anyone is listening that would like to bid on this, they have to follow the instructions, to a T, because if they do not, then their bid can be tossed out. So I just want to make sure whoever bids on this, they have to follow the instructions as written.
That is correct.
Thank you, Darryl. Okay, on the budget, approve one-time retention stipend. Would you like to speak on that?
Yeah. I am super excited, and it comes at a great time. Our teachers are doing a phenomenal job. Our leaders in our building are doing a phenomenal job. Obviously, it's evident in the recognition that they received today. Myself and Mr. Darrow, we've been going back and forth looking at where we are currently as far as budget is concerned and what funds we have available. So instead of giving the funds back to the state, instead of putting those funds in the bank, I think it's only appropriate that we give those funds to our employees. Mm-hmm. And I have something written here, and I'll kind of read it real quick. In the Assumption Parish School System, we firmly believe that investing in our teachers and staff members is an investment in the future of our students and community. Our dedicated educators are the heart and soul of our schools, shaping young minds, igniting curiosity, and fostering a love for learning. As the Assumption Parish School Board, we are committed to recognizing their invaluable contributions and providing them with the support they deserve. As we envision the educational landscape of the future, we understand that attracting and retaining exceptional educators and staff members is vital to our mission of providing the highest quality education and experiences. By offering a stipend, we aim to acknowledge the immense responsibilities and challenges employees face daily. A stipend for our educators and staff members is not merely a financial gesture. It's a symbol of respect, gratitude, and support. It's a reflection of our commitment to fostering a positive and empowering work environment where our educators and staff members feel valued, motivated, and encouraged to continue their professional growth. The Assumption Parish School Board is truly excited about awarding recruitment and retention stipends of $1,100 for certified staff and $550 for support staff to employees who remain committed to our school district. These stipends will be paid to who remain actively employed on August the 25th, 2023. So I could not say without, thanking Mr. Darrow and his team for really kind of figuring out how much money we had left and available. This is in addition to our recruitment and retention stipends that we've been given for the last couple of years. So this is, I don't want to say a bonus, but this is in addition to. And this is only a small token of appreciation, but I wanted our employees to know this is not merely a financial gesture. We respect you, we're grateful to have you in our system, and this is a token of appreciation.
I'd like to thank you and the staff that came up with this and worked so diligently to put it together. And yes, our community, our support staff, and other teachers and everyone deserves this one.
I think it's important to also to mention that this is not the state, this is Assumption Parish. Because I know the governor, we're going to be getting something, should be coming out pretty soon with those numbers. But this is Assumption Parish. We didn't get this from the state.
Thank y'all so much.
Well
Okay,
stated.
need a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lewis,
Everybody.
second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, under Facilities and Ground, receive information on security upgrades for Assumption High School, Napoleonville Primary School, and Napoleonville Middle School.
A couple meetings ago, if you could recall, you all gave me the authority to start looking at assessing our facilities. Currently, right now, we were looking at Assumption High School, Napoleonville Middle School, and Napoleonville Primary from a security standpoint, and trying to create those single point entries. So we have Mr. Stephen here this afternoon. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what you have in your packets and kind of walk us through it. Now, this is just the initial assessment. We want to make sure that the community and you all are actually involved in this process. So I'm not asking for approval tonight, but if you have any input or any suggestions, definitely make sure you make them known. And if there's any type of, clarity we need for what we see in our packets, Mr. Stephen will be glad to answer those questions as well. Mr. Stephen?
Thank you, Dr. Bartholomew. I guess we looked at these three schools and we did several things. We went out to the schools, we met with the administration, we met with Dwayne and his folks in facilities. We went through existing drawings that you had, evaluated your processes, how you receive kids and leave and things like that. So we looked at a vast amount of information, and through this process, there are two items that occur at every site that we think we can address. Number one is a perimeter fence. It's a simple component of security, but let's put a fence around these schools. And number two is a single point of entry. So what does that mean exactly? So in a single point of entry, we'll have a perimeter fence, and all exterior doors and fences and gates will be locked. The only access into the school will be the one door that we designate as the main entrance. You're going to walk in that door, you're going to walk into a secure lobby that is still separated from the school. You're going to talk to a receptionist who will figure out what your business is. If you need to get into the school, they would press a button, they would open a door, you can go into school. So that's what a single point entry is. So we looked at the drawings and we came up with a fence layout and a floor plan for each school that would accomplish those two things. So I guess the next main deal is what do these things cost? So at Assumption High School, the fence includes the entire campus, the athletic fields included. There may be an opportunity to reduce some of the fencing and save on some of the costs. But right now, if we fence the entire campus, including the athletic facilities, and then take a science lab that's at the front of the building that's not being used in Building A and create our single point entry, we're looking at a total cost of around $900,000. At Napoleonville Middle School, it's a little bit different. We're not fencing in the entire campus. We're fencing the buildings proper and the playground area behind. I guess it would be to the east of the school. So the play yards and the fields to the back would not be included in this particular deal. We could look at some alternatives and include that if the funding is available. The other thing we're looking at Napoleonville Middle School is we're going to close in and air condition the 2 stairwells on either end of the building. Those stairs are currently outside. So if you're on the ground floor and you need to go upstairs, you got to go outside the building, outside the air conditioning, and then come back in. So part of the upgrades we would do at these schools would be to air condition both of those stairwells. So here it's a little bit, it's still high, but the fact that we're doing the stairwells is affecting that cost. That total is around $680,000 at Napoleonville Middle.
Kids will love that. The air-conditioned stairwells, the kids will love that.
Oh, there's no doubt. Look, there's benefits to everybody.
Miss Kathy, you got to be jealous. You just left, yeah.
So similar scenario at the primary school, we have a fence that we laid out that encloses the entire campus here. And we have the administrative area that we would redo the floor plan a little bit. This one's a lot simpler than the other two. So the cost at that school is $505,000. So when you look at those all total, it's about $2.1 million for all 3 schools. The other thing to consider is part of this work, we would have to do land surveying. The land surveyors would go to each school and survey the existing conditions so we can lay out the actual fences and make sure we miss utilities and those kind of things. So the total surveying cost is $37,000. So the total cost of the project is around $2.135 million. So that's kind of where we are right now. We have this information in front of you. Y'all can pick and choose from these schools or from this scope the things you want to do, and then we can create a budget and move on with this.
And I know you have it written in here, but, you know, our family members at home may not know. Could you tell us site costs as fencing?
That's correct.
Concrete walkways?
So there's the costs that I provided are broken up into 2 different components. The site costs at Assumption, keeping in mind we had a lot of fencing at Assumption. It's $450,000. The building costs are $275,000. That gives us a subtotal of $725,000. We have some contingency built in for unforeseen things during design and construction, and we have our design fees, and that's what gives us our total project cost of $912,000. At Napoleonville Middle, the site costs are $240,000. The building costs are $300,000. Keep in mind, that's a little bit higher due to the stairwell work and adding those air conditioners. That subtotal is $540,000 with our contingency and design fees added in. It's a total cost of $680,000. At Napoleonville Primary, the fencing cost is $275,000, and the building costs are $125,000 for the total of $400,000, plus contingency of design fees, which gives us a total cost of $500,000.
Okay.
Mr. Stephen, I have a question. So the totals that are on our sheet are a little different from the totals. Is there something else included in the totals?
No, I'm kind of rounding them.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm not
Okay,
being
all right.
exact.
I'm just
Yeah,
making
'cause I gave
sure.
them different numbers.
The breakdown was the same, but the total was different.
We're looking at the same
I
document.
got you.
Mr. B, how much have we received in security upgrade from the government?
Around $900,000. So we have a grant, well, 2 grants. So we have the $518,000 grant from the State Department, and then we have our DOJ grant. That's roughly around $400 and some thousand.
Do you foresee us getting more funding?
I'm going to look for it. I think there's funding available. I know that currently, right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon, the DOJ grant, we can reapply for years to come. So yes, we will seek out additional funds for security.
There's probably also some other things that we're not including in this scope that are probably grant-related items that is probably low-hanging fruit, like hardware replacement and cameras and things like that. They can write grants specifically for those things that may be able to provide some enhancements to what this plan doesn't provide at this time.
The HVAC costs for the middle, would we be able to use our HVAC fund to do that, or do we have to include that with this project?
We will be able to use our HVAC funds for that.
For that portion?
For the portion of the project.
Okay, good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Al.
Oh, we do have one more comment, Mr. Stephen. We do have an AHS alumni working on the project too, Tommy. He texted me yesterday. He's a classmate of mine. He said, we're working on the project diligently for y'all, so I appreciate that, yeah.
So Tommy was supposed to be here tonight
Yeah.
to do this presentation. He's on vacation.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here with my bum on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, item B, authorize the superintendent to enter into task order to complete the designs and specifications for the athletic fields. You want to?
Yes, sir,
Expound
thank
on
you.
that a little bit.
I have in your package kind of like a breakdown of what I received as far as the budget is concerned. And also what we're actually going to be doing is spending the funds on. And right now, and I'll let you kind of bring us up to speed of where you are, but this is for one project. This is for the football field, the track, baseball lights, softball lights, and the gymnasium bleachers.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Danny Hebert with Civil and Environmental Consulting Engineers. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be here. We're working with Dr. B and Dwayne on a scoping of services for the task that he just mentioned. We're also here to recommend that you approve a task order for us to begin our design services for the synthetic field, the football field, the track, and the lighting. The goal is to have the design package complete by the latter part, the fourth quarter of this year. The goal would be to advertise and to bid in the first quarter of next year in '24, and then to proceed with construction as soon as track is complete in April of next year. So you won't miss the upcoming football season, you won't miss the track season, and then by about mid-July of next summer to early August, weather dependent, you will have the ability to have new facilities for your student athletes.
And I also want to say, when we look at our facility, and you do this work continuously, our football stadium definitely needs an upgrade. Almost every school, every parish around us has went to turf, synthetic fields, as well as I'm concerned about the track. The track has a few holes in it, a few cracks in it. And I firmly believe this. I think if we're able to put lights at our softball field and our baseball field, I think we give those kids and those coaches a better opportunity to bring home a state championship. And also our parents an opportunity, instead of having to get off work early, they can actually have evening games where our parents can attend and be able to see their kids play. Because you got to think about it, that we're one of only a few schools probably in the state that do not have lights. But those teams are playing double hitters and they're playing games and tournaments at their own place because they have the availability. And I want to also note that the funding source here, we have some excess money that we received in taxes. So this wasn't originally budgeted. So instead of putting it in the bank, this is reinvesting back into our schools. We also was able, through the help of Darryl and his team, as well as Ms. Kathy, and I know it's some of our other directors and supervisors, we were able to recruit $1.2 million because we're using our grant funds to pick up some of the costs our general fund would normally pick up. So again, instead of saving that money, we're putting that money back into the schools. And then also, we have our license, our FCC license that we sold, and we are in the process of doing that, and that should yield about $710,000. So we save well over what it's going to cost for these projects that we're going to use again back into our schools. And we have enough money in the bank. You know, we have enough to secure funds. I think it's now time for us to start reinvesting in our communities and our schools. So this is just a small part of that, and I know that that's more to come. So I just want to make sure I communicate to the board and to our families where the funding source is coming from. It's not coming out of general fund. It's funds that we actually have. Instead of putting in general fund, you can actually put into our schools.
While we're talking about the general fund, I sat with you this week and I expressed my concern of supporting this. If we're going to support this, and I understand we have our middle school kids, they go to play there, and if it rains, they can't play because the high school's got to play Friday night. There's certain things that there's an advantage to it. But if we're going to spend this kind of money, I really feel that our schools need an uplift, facelift. I mean, really, we need to think about what our kids look at when they walk in the first thing in the morning. And I know that our general budget is very, very stacked right now. And I think we can use some of that money to improve some of our schools. Cooney and I met with you, and we spoke to you, and we explained to you how we felt. You know, we've been on our board for 28 years. We feel like we want to see progress. And I'd really, really like for you to put it on the agenda next time, or if they want to adopt it tonight, that we take so much money out of our general funds and put it to improving our schools.
I agree 100%. Let's continue on with the same process. So if the board would like, I definitely can seek out services to start that process, to say, hey, you know, what it would take or what it would cost to kind of really look at the high school and the middle schools and all of our schools to give a facelift. So when our kids pull up to the school and our parents, it brings them some joy, and it's something positive to look at. So I agree 100%, and the board gives me that task, I definitely will start that process.
I would also like to mention Bayou Lures, our kids, because last time I voted against these fields. Our kids in Bayou Lures still go to class in mobile homes. And I think, I brought my granddaughter today to my school. She came to work with Lolly. She stood in the hallway, and she said, I love this hallway. They don't have hallways. Those kids leaving Bayou Lures this year and next year, and the years to come, if we don't do something, they have never walked the hallways. They don't know what it feels like. And I think it spoke volumes to me that it wasn't the classrooms. She got to walk down the hallway. So I think it's way past time that we look at Bayou Lures and look at putting something permanent there for those kids to be safe and have pride in their school.
I think what we need to do is let's form a committee. Let's get a committee and look at all of them.
Yep.
But
I
the more, yeah.
think it's time.
Okay, but
Let's
we
have a study, see what the need is, and move on, move forward.
right. But on agenda tonight, we have this. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Move on, Mr. Washington, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Again,
Thank you, Mrs.
Assumption
Daniels.
High, that's part of our pride.
That word pride.
Mustang Alley.
Absolutely.
Item C, authorize the superintendent to advertise for bids for HVAC project in Assumption High School Freshman Academy Building in.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lewis or Mr. Abraham, I couldn't tell. Second by Ms. Dot. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item D, approve Assumption High School Micro Center Addition project and authorize the superintendent to advertise for bids for the project. Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms.
Everybody.
Urso. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Comments and announcements. Anybody have any comments and announcements?
I just want to reiterate what our school system has done across the state of Louisiana. And you had to be there, because you know, I'm there with other superintendents who have far more funding sources, far more resources in their parish, and here we are fighting the little man, right, the giant, the little giant, and we're right up there with some of the most high performing districts in the state of Louisiana. So no one is going to tell me that our teachers can't teach. No one is going to tell me our students can't learn. And it's a testament to that. And I'm going to fight tirelessly to make sure that the word gets out, that Assumption Parish is on the move, and we're moving in the right direction with the right people. So I'm truly, truly excited and thankful for that. I just wanted to reiterate that, Mr. President, and thank the board, because a lot of people don't realize, you know, a lot of the battles that go on behind the scenes, but how you all are putting the funding up to allow us to do what we need to do for the kids. So thank you all as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to also say this and give kudos to BioLures. I don't see any of the administrators here, but anyway, or teachers. With a small school, it takes one student to bring those scores down. And I think it speaks volumes of what they did there this year. I'm proud to see them back up and going since COVID, because I know that hit everybody hard. Also, I'd like to wish all the teachers and administrators a happy and safe start to school next week, because we won't be meeting again before then. So we're wishing the best for all of you. Thank you.
Also, Mr. G, I'd like to thank the people that put on the STEM program for our students this summer. It was an awesome program for our students, that everyone that went really enjoyed it. So I'd like to send them a thank you note or whatever we have to do to make sure that they come back.
I do know that the teachers have been working hard also, getting their classrooms ready, getting, you know, there's parents that are doing the schools, fixing up, painting, making everything beautiful for these kids, so thank you.
We need community involvement.
All right, need a motion to adjourn. So moved by Mr. Hood, second by Ms. Dot. All in favor?
Aye.